Hi everyone, welcome to Tom's Manshed. Okay, another 3D printing video today. What this one is on this flexible magnetic PEI sheet. And you attach this to your printer in various ways. I'll go into that shortly, but first of all I'll show you the exact one I got. If you've got an Ender 3, there's loads and loads available all over the place, eBay, Amazon, everything. But for the CR6 SE, which I've got, I could only find one on AliExpress. A company called Wham Bam make one, but they're very, very expensive. And I found this one on AliExpress at a reasonable price. Still quite expensive, but a reasonable price. But the few and far between for the 6 SE is a slightly different size. You could probably cut one down and with tin snips, but it seems a shame to actually be cutting into spring steel. So if you want one pre-cut for the CR6 SE, this is the one I chose. Here, see it on AliExpress. Now I actually paid 33 quid for mine just about a month ago. So it's actually gone down in price. Now you can get various ones. It's Energetic is the make, and you can get various ones. You can get textured on one side, smooth on one side, or textured and smooth, which is the one I got. So if you tick that one, and then you can get it with the base. That's the stick-on adhesive base that you stick to your bed or your glass top. I'll show you again shortly. You can get it with the base or without the base, and as you see from the price, each time you click on one it goes up in price. So for the textured and smooth with base, it's now showing £27.24, but after discounts £25.77. Free shipping to the UK, but like I said, I paid 33 for mine, so it's actually gone down quite a bit in price. But this is the actual product here. So that's the smooth side, that's the textured side. There's a picture showing you both sides. That's it in place on the printer. That's not CR6 SE, but it'll be one of the ones they make for the others. And there's a little video there as well if you want to play that. So that's the one I got, and you can see here it's got Creality written on the front. Like I say, it's not a Creality as the manufacturer, they've just printed that on. And the reason I got it was, this is the original base coating you get on the glass bed on the CR6 SE. They call it a carborundum coating, and when it was brand new, it was great. So things stuck really well. When you let it cool, they just came straight off. If you wanted to get it off while it was still hot, you could take the glass bed off, cool it down somewhere, or scrape it off, and it worked really well. And they said in the original instructions for the CR6 SE, clean it with isopropyl alcohol. Now, I've been using isopropyl alcohol for donkey's years for various products. I'm well aware of what you can use it on and what you can't. And I've always used it on the PEI bed I've got on my other printer, the CR10. That's just a PEI sheet stuck to the glass bed. Now, when I used it on this, it started bringing the coating off. Now there's loads and loads of discussion about this in the Facebook groups, and lots of people have had no problems. Those of us that have had the problems, the others are, a lot of them are calling them, oh, they're wrong, liars, it hasn't damaged mine or anything. But all I'm saying is, it did damage mine. I'll show you actually doing it now. So whether Creality use different coatings or better, a faulty batch or whatever, I don't know. Now I'll show you doing it on this, and I use IPA, isopropyl alcohol, in a little bottle there, and I buy it in bulk. And I don't know whether you can see, it's faded now, it's a dead old label this, but I don't know whether you can see there, just above my finger, try and focus on it, there, 100%, you can just about make it out, 100% pharmaceutical grade. So this is the really good stuff, IPA. You can get it in lower 90%, 95%. Now maybe if you use it in a lower concentration, it's okay on your surface. It didn't stipulate that in the instructions, it just said clean it with IPA. But as you'll see now, if I put some on, a piece of tissue, and as you can see, the tissue, there's no yellowing on it. I'll get it into a little ball. There. It's perfectly white. And if I now rub this, as I would with a normal PEI sheet, and it does no damage to PEI. The new sheet you can clean with this, no problem whatsoever. But this carborundum coating, once I've done this, I'm pressing quite hard now, but even rubbing lighter, when I first did it, it took all the gloss off it. It went a horrible matte colour, and then things were really having problems sticking. And if you can see, you can see all that coating is coming off. Now that yellow stuff isn't something that's supposed to come off a transit coating or anything by Creality. It does that every time you clean it, and it gets duller and duller and duller. There you can see where it's all gone dull in patches, and nothing sticks to that now. Very, very little. It's lost all, you can feel it's really smooth. It's lost all its texture. So my advice is, do not use IPA. Use glass cleaner, soapy water, something like that. If you're using IPA and you've not had any problems, great. I wish I'd have got a bed like that. Carry on using the same IPA, no problem whatsoever. But like I said, my advice is, don't use it, particularly the good stuff, and particularly on some beds. Hence me getting this PEI sheet. So to get back to the sheet, you've 3 choices of how you can apply this. They say in the instructions, the advice, just it comes as 2 parts. It comes as this, the flexible steel sheet, and it comes with this, with a backing on, which is coated with the really sticky VHB 3M adhesive. So you can stick this sheet direct to the aluminium bed if you like. You can then just put the pad on there either way round, and it'll work fine. The problem is with that is that magnetic sheets like this lose their magnetic properties if they get extremely hot. They only recommend using up to about 80 degrees centigrade on a magnetic sheet. If you start using 100 degrees or more, it can remove the magnetism, and then you basically got a non-magnetic sheet, which isn't going to be much good. Now I want to use ABS. I've experimented with ABS on the glass bed, and I used an ABS juice, which is a mixture of acetone and ABS offcuts, and I had great success. It stuck fantastic to the glass bed, but it does need a high temperature, like 100 degrees or even 110, some recommend bed temperature for ABS. So that rules out putting this magnetic sheet direct onto the aluminium bed. Also, if you do put it straight on the alloy bed, you've got to cut all the holes to clear the mounting screws, and on the CR6 SE there are quite a lot. It's not just the 4 like the CR10, there's loads and loads of screws, so you'd have to cut all of them to gain access to the screws. So I thought a better option was to stick it to my glass bed. I'm never going to use this side again, so that can go on the aluminium plate. That is stuck direct to the shiny part of the glass. I didn't stick it onto that because I didn't know how it would stick to this textured surface. So I cleaned all the glass up, the plain side of the glass with IPA, stuck that on it. Being glass, you've got a perfectly flat surface, or you have most of the time. Check it with a steel rule, see if it is any gaps under it, but mine was absolutely flat. So I stuck that on, you smooth it on, smooth out any air bubbles. You've got a totally flat surface now. And the beauty is now I can take this off if I want to print in ABS, and I'm going to get myself, after lockdown is finished, just a standard piece of glass, plain glass, heatproof obviously, cut at a local glassworks I've got, which is now closed during the COVID lockdown. But I'm going to get a piece cut exactly that size, and I can use that glass direct on the aluminium bed for when I'm printing ABS and get it up to any temperature I like, and I'm not ruining me aluminium, me magnetic sheet. Another option is, instead of sticking this to the glass sheet, you could stick it to an equally thick piece of aluminium. Again, I've got loads of engineering works nearby, but they're all closed down at the moment, so I've no access to a piece of aluminium sheet that thick at the moment, and I did want to carry on printing, so that's the option I've chosen. Stuck it to my original glass bed. I will get a duplicate piece of glass cut for using ABS, but I can still print with all the other stuff I want to use now, and I'm not going to ruin the magnetism when I print with ABS. And what I had to do was just cut out, you can just see there, the little gaps in it, just to clear the clips at the back of the bed, and two little circles, and they clear the clamps at the front. So you just insert the glass bed as normal, put the clamps over there, and they clear that, and then you can stick the magnetic sheet to that, and it really does stick well. Once it's on, it's hard to get it into position, so line it up really well, and then you just pull it off. So that is what I've got. It works really, really well. So I'll show you that now on the printer, and how it peels on and off, and how I attach it to the bed, and then I'll show you it doing some how the parts stick when it's cold and when it's hot. Okay, so this is how you take it off. It's dead easy. This is the spring steel magnetic top, and as you can see, it's gripped pretty tightly by the magnet. That just pops off, and as you can see, that flexes easily to remove objects while it's still warm. As you'll see, they pop off dead easy when it's cold. You don't have to do any flexing, but if you can't wait that long, you can just remove that top, give it a quick flex, and they pop off. So that's your top. Now you've got your textured side one side and your smooth side the other. They're both PEI sheet stuck to this spring steel, so you can pick which finish you want, totally smooth or textured. I like the textured, and I like the effect it gives to the object, so I'll show you that shortly. So that's the flex top, and then under there you've got your magnetic base, and that just like removing the glass base, springs off, and you can see, like I showed you earlier, the cutouts I've made to clear that, and there's your aluminium base on the aluminium bed under there. So like I say, you could stick this is your stick-on sheet that just sticks on with a really strong 3M adhesive, and you could stick that straight to the aluminium bed if you like, but like I say, I've chose to stick it to me bed for the reasons I I explained in the intro. So that just shows you it how it attaches, and like I say, it's dead easy. Just when you want to put it on, clip that under, push it under the clips, just like your standard bed. Swing them in. And then this, it's so strong that once it's on you can't move it around, so I tend to put it on at the front, but join it up to the two clips which it just butts up against, then let go and just clip it down, and then just totally push it down, and then you can give it a wipe with some isopropyl alcohol, and it won't damage the PEI coating at all, unlike the stock Creality coating like I showed you before. And that's it, that's the magnetic bed in action. So as you saw there, dead easy, just put it on as you would the glass bed, because it is basically a glass bed. Now, I tend to use this textured side mostly, and it sticks really well. I've had really good stiction from it, and I quite like the effect it gives it. These are two parts I've recently printed, two little battery dispensers, and if I hold it up, it's got a really nice textured finish. And again on the back, I can see it there better in the dark, in the light. I quite like that effect. That's the textured side. And again, that effect on the blue at the back. And then you just got your side. You can see the quality of the prints from the CR6 SE. I'm really, really pleased with it. They're dead smooth. That's a AA battery holder, battery dispenser, and here's the sorry, that was a AAA, this is the AA. So again, on the AA size battery box, you can see the textured effect you get if you print with this surface down to the bed. And as you can see some layer lines. I think that's inevitable, but it's really, really good finish. I'm really pleased with this printer. And if you don't like the textured effect, you can just flip it over, use the smooth PEI, and again, dead smooth finish. IPA doesn't hurt it in any way, and sometimes that's favourable to use that. Like I said, it has stuck really, really well. You can see there's no sort of warping or anything there, but I did notice on PETG, I did on one of the parts I printed, it did have a bit of it peeling away from the surface. Whether I hadn't cleaned it enough and there was a bit of grease on it or not, I don't know. Maybe I should have used a raft, I don't know. But I did experience a bit of peeling away on one of my PETG parts, but in general it has stuck really, really well. So I'll just show you now on the printer how the parts come off when it's cooled down, and how to get them off while it's still hot. Right, so as you can see, it's just finished this print and the bed is still hot. If I try moving it, that's still stuck pretty tight to the bed. Now at this stage I could either leave it and let it cool down, and once it's cooled off fully it will totally unstick on its own. I'll show you that on another print I'll do after this one. Or if you find it won't separate, this is the beauty of the flexible print. I don't know why I'm moving them, you don't have to do that. You just pull it up here off at the front. Now it's still hot to touch this. If I flex it, like I say, it still feels quite hot this, but as I flex it, here, we hold it underneath, you can see that has now come off. Just put that back on there. And obviously some stringing at the top, that's no problem at all, it'll soon come off with a heat gun, but you can see it's a really good quality print, and that was just under 24 hours. And again, no supports. See the detail on the face, it's quite good. Zoom in there. Detail is pretty good, and you can see it as when I got to about here, I changed it in the slicer to print from 0.1 upwards, so all the head was done at 0.1 and all the rest at 0.2 layer heights. But yeah, okay, you can see some layer marks, but it's pretty smooth, and when the raft comes off, easy enough. Okay, this print is literally just finished. You can see the nozzle temperature going down, and the bed is still hot. I had the bed set at 70. It's just Robin's head, as in Batman and Robin, and as you can see, it's pretty firm. I know you can't tell how hard I'm pressing it, but I can assure you that if we use this, you can see nobody can hear that. I'm not tapping it extremely hard, but I am tapping it with reasonable amount of force, and it is stuck to the bed, which is good. And that's the bed fully heated up. But this time, instead of removing it and flexing it while it's still hot, which is an option, I'm going to let the bed fully cool down, and then I'll show you it again once it's cooled down, how easily it comes off. Okay, so this is a good while later. The machine has been turned off, probably about half an hour, but you wouldn't have to wait a full half hour. But the bed's just now at room temperature, and if I try pushing it now, it literally, I hardly touched it then, and it just came loose. So there you have it. You've seen it in action. You've seen how I chose to apply it. Like I said, you can choose any method you like. If you're never going to use ABS or anything that needs a really high bed temperature, if you're sticking just to PLA and PETG, by all means stick the flexible magnetic bit, the stick-on bit, direct to your aluminium bed. The two cons that have been mentioned are you're increasing the weight, but the weight anyway is in the glass bed, which it's designed to use anyway. The only additional weight is this and the stick-on sheet, and it's absolutely light as a feather, so I don't think it's going to put any extra strain on the motors whatsoever. I haven't experienced anything like that. And also, people have said the glass can insulate the heat too, because the heat is coming from the aluminium bed through the glass and through the sticker to the metal sheet. It's going to stop a bit of the heat. Well, that isn't a problem. It might take a few seconds longer to reach initial temperature, but the temperatures you're using it when you're using the glass bed are 50, 60, 70 anyway. So you're not using massively high temperatures. It's not going to stop the required amount of heat getting to it, it's only going to slow it down by a few seconds. So again, I don't think that's anything to worry about. But that's the option I chose. So you can stick it direct to your aluminium bed. You can stick it to a piece of aluminium the same thickness of your glass, so it goes under the clips exactly the same, and use that, keeping this free to use as a glass bed. Or as I've done, stick it to that, and then at a later date I'm going to get a spare piece of glass cut so I can print my ABS on it. All in all, I'm really pleased with it. It's miles better than the stock Creality bed. And again, before I get loads and loads of comments saying it's not necessarily, if you're happy with your stock Creality bed, great, just stick with it. I'm glad you've got a good one that's got a better coating than mine. Or stick to using your weaker IPA and it'll probably be fine. If I'd have known all this in advance, I'd have watered it down a bit. But like I say, it does say in the instructions just use IPA, which I did, and as you saw, it does on some of them with some IPA bring that coating off, and it lost all its stiction and just made it rubbish. So I hope this has been of some use. There'll be plenty more 3D printing tips coming up, along with my usual tool and gadget reviews. If you want to subscribe, please click the icon of the shed here. Loads more in the pipeline. Thanks for watching this one. Bye for now.